Dijk was brilliant when he was on the pitch, came off. And normally it would be Isak starts the game and then maybe Ekitike comes on last half an hour.
Normally Isak, you ain't got him yet.
No, but hang on. We're still in need of that striker. I remember people saying in the first half, oh, look at Ekitike, you don't need Isak. Then he comes off. And we do need another striker. So I do think we do need Isak.
You've seen from that Virgil van Dijk playbook, man.
Sorry?
Virgil van Dijk. He made some comments to the effect about
Yeah.
Break that down for me. What was he...
Well,
was he calling out the club, or was he just being honest, or what was it?
I don't think that's ever his MO when he's doing these press conferences, to speak out against the club. He was more saying what
not speaking
most fans
out, but was
thinking.
he sending a message to the club, say, look?
Well, but the club are well aware that the cogs are in process, the wheels are oiling up to go again for Isak as soon as Newcastle sort themselves out and get themselves a replacement. So he doesn't need to say that the club should be looking at a striker and a centre-back. He knows that they're already on that. They're already looking.
No, but was it a little
all
like
the options.
Pick up the proverbial...
Well, we can't really do anything to get Isak until Newcastle replace the striker. So what's he going to come out and say? Oh, if only Newcastle hurried up a bit, then we could go for Isak. That's if you look through the lines a little bit, that's basically what the situation is.
No, but the reason why I say that is that, let's be honest, man, Virgil van Dijk, very experienced player and captain, he's been in the game a long time. Words don't just fall out of these guys' mouths. If he's saying something like that, I tend to agree with a lot of people who are saying it. That was a little nudge to the board to say, look.
You have to also understand, man, in the last week, we've sold Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, and with the sad passing of Diogo, it's no secret that we need another striker. So like I said, he knows, the club knows, that by the end of the window, we will have another striker in.
So it's just a case of him being pretty honest and candid. Yeah, nothing more than that.
Definitely, I wouldn't read into it, anything like that. Just because I know what we need, and it's obvious to everyone, it's a striker and a centre-back. And we will get those things in the next... We've got 3 weeks still. Not ideal. You would have preferred to almost wrap, especially a striker, up a little bit earlier, get them a few games in pre-season, but it's not the case. We go for the opportunity in the market when the opportunity becomes available. And right now, it's like Tetris. We're just waiting for the... the squares and the sticks to fall into place. And then we go, right, bang, you've sorted yourself out. We're going to get our star man. And then go and get a centre-back as well. And if they do that, which I have full confidence that they will now, that is
what makes you so confident? I mean, Newcastle...
because we haven't come this far in this window to like back out of anything now.
No, not to say you'll back out, but Newcastle are standing firm. I mean, you guys, you threw down the gauntlet, didn't you? You said, look, that's what we're offering, no more. Should you have done that? Should you have been a bit more open-ended?
Well, we've basically said to them, come back when you've got a striker, you get back in touch with us. And that's how Ornstein described it anyway. It was almost like Liverpool have gone, look, there's 110. You get back in touch with us when you want the rest. But that's a little teaser for you.
But then Virgil saying, look, we need striking options, or what was the word he used?
But we have lost, we're short on striking options there. We are.
So there is that bit of creative tension there.
No, not creative. You're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. This is what you always do. Virgil knows that we need more strikers because one of them sadly passed away and the other two have just been sold. So naturally we need more strikers. It's not a secret at all.
It's not a secret. But as the days go by,
I think eventually he will.
Newcastle seem to be,
but like I said, we're
holding their ground well.
We're waiting on them. We're waiting on them to sort themselves out, get a striker, replace him. They're looking at Kolo Muani now. They're looking at that Samu from Porto, the 21-year-old Spanish striker. So
I am watching that space of interest.
We're blocked in this situation until that happens. So, and I think they might dig their feet in and long it out a little bit, unsettle the player.
I think it's beginning to look like they are going to.
I mean, I don't think there's any way back for him internally, from what I've heard anyway, in terms of how the players deal with him now after what he's kind of done.
I don't believe that for 1 minute.
Oh, that's what I heard.
Who did you hear that from? Come on, put your cards on the table.
Renton.
Yeah, but with respect to Matty...
Right, he's got good contacts within the club.
Look, come on, we all know how this football game works. If Isak was to do an about face and say to Eddie Howe, look, you know what, I'm sorry, I don't know what come over me, but I got carried away. You know what, I want to commit to Newcastle for at least another year. I'll give you everything. I'll say sorry to the guys.
Do you think we're close to that stage?
Huh?
Do you think we're actually quite close to that stage? No, I'm saying
it's not a million. Listen, you don't know what's going on in his head.
I'm just asking you.
Because if he's not going to go to Liverpool, he might think, you know what, I don't want to rot in the reserves. Let me just You know
At what
I mean?
point do you think the deal becomes closed, or at least from Liverpool's side, where do you think they go, right, this is too messy for us?
I think we're close to that already. I think Liverpool were probably... I mean, you're a Liverpool fan. You probably thinking that this would have been more or less getting sorted by now.
Yeah.
As the season comes maybe not in time for him to...
Maybe in the next week or 10 days.
But the longer it goes on, and I do see from Newcastle, they do seem to be holding their nerve and saying, look, he's a Newcastle player and will remain one until we say otherwise. That does have some clout. They do have some leverage there.
No, I mean, they're the ones technically in control. He's under contract to them for another 3 years. So you know, he has to almost... As much as I respect Matty,
I absolutely disagree with him. I think if Isak, and this is hypothetically, if he goes to the manager and says, look, Eddie, you know what, I think you're right, mate, I might have got this wrong. I've got my head turns, but now I just want to play football. Newcastle are a great club. I never fell out with the club per se. I just wanted to explore my options. I went about it the wrong way, but listen, I'll get my head down. I'll give you at least another year. You think the players are going to say no, F off? Of course they're not going to.
It's difficult to say, because I think at the minute, if you're a Newcastle fan, the immediate reaction is to say there's no way back. How can he thinks he's bigger than the club? He's gone to train with his old club. It's a lot of disrespect that has been shown, right?
Absolutely.
But you're right. If there is that kind of...
But fans are also the most forgiving.
This is what I was getting onto. So if there is that kind of ceasefire where they both go, look, man, this ain't going to happen. We ain't letting you go. And he goes, okay, look, I'll get my head down. I'm really sorry for how I was treated. He scores against Liverpool in the first home game of the season for Newcastle. Those fans are right back on his side again.
Case in point.
I think right now, they think, and I'm not saying this is the truth or what will turn out to be the truth, but Newcastle fans at the minute think that there's no way back for him, / don't even want him there anymore, and they want to recoup as quick as possible.
Yeah. However, we also
if it happened to if that was one of my players and they'd done that, it's a big disrespect. And again, like you said, he's under contract for another 3 years, so can you get away with that? Probably just because you're Alex Isak and you're one of the best strikers in the world. So if you did come back with your tail between your legs, eventually they would roll over and go on then, get back in that starting 11, you better score us some goals, and then next year, trust me, you can go.
You never say never.
Happen, no, you
never say never, especially in football.
If that does happen, then the chess move goes back to Liverpool, and we go, right, well, who else are we going to get? Because we do still need a striker.
Well, you got Ekitike.
Yeah, but one injury away from having no strikers. But you almost want the next Divock Origi to come through. But if we get Isak, then Ekitike might be playing less games as well. So how does that affect him? But
it's an interesting set of circumstances.
When does it end, do you think? Because we have 21 days, let's say, until the end of the window. Firmly shuts.
You know what? This is a case of moving parts, yeah? And if you'd have asked me this last week... Sorry?
Tetris, like I said.
Tetris, yeah.
Game of Tetris.
Tetris, it is. This is a game of moving parts. If you'd have asked me last week, or even certainly before last week, right, I would have said he's definitely going to Liverpool. However, with each passing day, and with Eddie Howe and Newcastle appearing to hold their ground and hold their nerve, it's looking like Isak's probably going to end up staying at Newcastle, at least in the short term. So, that's where I'm with it as of right now. You ask me this time next week, I might be saying something completely different. It's such a curious and interesting set of circumstances.
Mr. London FC in the chat says, seen it before with many players, they will eventually leave. He has told them he does not want to be there. They could do with a rebuild. It happens end of August, he reckons. But then the 40-year-old Virgil says if Isak has left the door open to go back to Newcastle, it weakens Liverpool's hand and could end up scuppering the deal. He needs to say he'll never play for them again, making it impossible for Newcastle then to almost take him back after that.
There is a grain of truth in that.
And how close are we to that? To him saying out loud or verbally or in an email, you know, I want to leave. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't play again.
And this is where Eddie Howe has played a blinder, because if you read between the lines on what Eddie Howe has said, is he's never once tried to ostracise Isak away from the club, even when it was clear that Isak was kind of dissing the club by training at Sociedad, not telling him all the rest of it. Eddie Howe was very careful not to completely throw him under the bus. By doing that, you're leaving the door slightly ajar for Isak to knock on it and say, look, you know what, boss, I acted out of
How
character.
open is that door at the minute?
I think it's ajar.
It's ajar. It's
It's
got
a
the
jar.
door stopping.
It's ajar, man. The door is there.
What do you make of the news that allegedly he's turned down bigger contracts? Because if you're doing that, I mean, if he did that, I almost don't see a point in doing that, only for his benefit to get the wages more, and they're happy to do that to fend off the interest of Liverpool. But even if he says, I don't want to sign the new contract, he could find himself in a position where he is still there for a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Without
I mean, you got to remember as well,
that.
Isak's initial statement was quite interesting as well. It was a little bit open-ended, wasn't it? He didn't say, I want to leave. He said, I want to explore my options. It's what he did in the immediate aftermath of that, which courted a lot of criticism, including from people like myself, by the way. When he did all this stuff going to Sociedad unannounced, the manager have to face up to questions in press conferences and
behalf,
him being allegedly told, oh, really? Is that where he is? I didn't know that. Stuff like that didn't do Isak any favours. But what I'm saying is, well, you know, Alex, you've been around football long enough. Football is one of them sports. You never say never.
No, you can't.
A player, especially somebody of Isak's quality, you know what I mean, they will be forgiven by the fans and the players and the club if he's to turn round and say, look, you know, I acted out of character.
First, though, I still think at this stage he's still more towards. If you were to put a dial to stay in or leave in, he's still pushing to leave, but he might get to a point where that becomes untenable, and that he might have to push the dial back to, well, it's not happening.
Which is
so
why
now
I
I'm
say,
gonna stay.
which
But
is
at
why
the
I
minute,
say,
the dial
Newcastle
is still leaning towards, I want to leave still.
I would agree with that,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is Newcastle played a bit of a blinder because, like I said, they've left that proverbial door ajar. There's that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not shut. It's not slammed shut. There's that little manoeuvring
they have
room.
bombed him out of the training, though. They have said...
No, they said you got to earn the right. Even that statement was clever. They said, earn the right to come back into the fold. He said, look, we welcome you back, but it's up to you to show some
But what does he
contrition,
have to do for that?
some remorse. Like I said, some contrition, some remorse.
Is that not on the pitch then? We're not talking about...
No, I'm
this is
talking
off
about
the
going
pitch
to the
stuff.
manager,
Right.
going
knocking
to
on his
Eddie
door.
Howe, who I'm sure he's got his phone number and all the rest of it.
Got him on WhatsApp.
Ringing him.
At least on WhatsApp.
Say, boss, can we have a chat over a coffee? Meet you in the Starbucks or wherever it is.
Starbucks? You want to go out in the public?
So he says, look, you know what, boss, I think it's time we had a talk. I need to get some things off my chest. Eddie Howe's obviously he's going to say, yeah, cool. Meet up. Isak says to him, you know
What
what,
if he
boss?
says you've got to earn the right to even talk to me? Because at the minute,
No,
I've been
he's not. He
calling
said
you,
he's-
you ain't been replying. Gone to Sociedad. Am I some sort of mug?
Nah, he's not going to say that, is he? You know what I mean? You have to remember, you know, Isak's a very valued asset.
And that's why I
You
think
don't-
if it was anyone else, maybe
Exactly.
not. But
I mean, dare I say, if this had been a so-called regular player or somebody in the academy, he would have been told to do one. But we're not talking about that level of player. We're talking about possibly the best number 9 in the world. You're going to do your best to keep him. And what I'm saying is I think Eddie Howe and Newcastle have played a bit of a blinder insofar as they've not gone out of their way to ostracise him. They've let him know that he's out of pocket in what his actions are. But they've also said, look, you can earn the right to come back into the fold. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens from here on in.
yeah, absolutely. Let us know. Where does it end? When does it end? How does it end? And when I say end, I'm talking about the whole saga that surrounds Alex Isak.
I think one
Liverpool,
thing's for
Newcastle
certain
in this
now.
triangle.
One thing's for sure, he will not be in your side come this weekend.
I know, there's definitely
Yeah.
not. Do you think there's a world in where we know the Newcastle-Liverpool game, August 25th, it's a Monday.
Yeah.
The window shuts, I think, on the Monday after that.
That's
so
right.
31st, let's call it the 1st of September, it shuts. Is there a way in which Newcastle say to him, look, as the ultimate, like, do this one thing for us and then you can go. One more job for us and then into the sunset you go. Could they say, well, look, we're playing Liverpool on August the 25th. The last thing we want to do is sell you to Liverpool before that so that you can play against us at St James's Park. You'll be open and subject to vitriol and abuse and hatred and all that stuff. So if we're really going to let you do this, and by we, it is us because we own you and we have the control here, we'll let you go to Liverpool, but you've got to play against Liverpool first.
Yeah. Well, how about this?
Because there's still 6 days to do a deal after that.
There is. How about this? Isak contacts Eddie Howe and says, look, boss, can we have a chat? He goes there, he shows that necessary contrition and remorse, apologises, whatever. Eddie Howe and him agree. Eddie says to him, look, give me one more season and you can go wherever you want. I'll make sure you get your move. We'll even put it in writing. Isak says, yes, boss, fine. He doesn't play, he doesn't start maybe the first game, but he's on the bench for the following game against Liverpool. Comes on, scores the winner.
And then at the end of the game, just goes into Liverpool's dressing room.
And not only that, after he scores the winner, he goes over to the Liverpool fans and he does that.
I mean, at the minute, any of these could be true. Any of these could be true.
Can you imagine Isak doing that to you lot?
How can it end? When does it end? When will it end, Robbie? Is the main question that I've got. But Remy says, what should Isak do? What Lino is, what Laurie is suggesting. The man wants, I think they meant to say Laurie, I think. Why should Isak do what Laurie is suggesting? The man went to leave the club. Why should he make overtures that contradict his... I don't even know who they're talking about there, actually. He will be hated, says the airborne assassin.
Hated by who?
I guess Newcastle fans if he leaves and he goes back to play against them as a Liverpool player.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's correct. What I'm saying is that we can't discount him playing for Newcastle again. Like I said, stranger things have happened because Isak has not said, I will not play for this club again. He's not done what Wissa's done, right? And also, like I said, I keep saying it, Newcastle have been very clever. Eddie Howe, whenever he's been questioned, he's not closed the door on Isak coming back.
Yeah.
So whilst those two situations are in play, there is sufficient amount of wiggle room, leverage for him to still stay at Newcastle for, like I said, for maybe another year.
One last roll of the dice.
Exactly.